straight in here. Ice and Chrome. To start us off. We will begin in the bottom left-hand side of the map with the red Zerg player. This is soO. Up against, in the upper right-hand side, the blue Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is PartinG. What's up, King Chivy? Thank you so much for the fresh new subscription. Yeah, what a fun series we've got. Unfortunately, I would say that after soO's games yesterday, I'm not filled with confidence about how that's going to go. Because he didn't look good at all, honestly, yesterday, soO. Against stats. Like, he put up a bit of a fight, and this is going to be a cannon rush to start the game, or start the series. He put up a good fight in the first game, and then it felt like soO just was completely broken and just fell apart from there on out. This wasn't the prettiest of matches from soO's point of view, so I'm excited to see if he can maybe bounce back, but I feel like PartinG is going to take the wind out of soO's sails very early on. This cannon rush is already going to put things on PartinG's terms. He's going to pile on block his probe into this corner. He will get the cannon up over there. Now the drones are going to commit onto this pylon, actually, so they're going to really go for this. They want to try and get access in. PartinG can re-wall it, though, right? There's space for another pylon exactly where his probe is right now. And he's going to re-wall it. So killing this first pylon doesn't even really do all that much. As the probe backs off, and this cannon will get up to soO. We'll pull the drones back up to the high ground. And get back to waiting, I guess, as the drones pull in. There's going to be a cannon killed off. And the gateway already building up here as the few drones will make their way back to the main base. So now soO has to deal with this. Gateway setting up. I mean, you can't possibly keep this hatch alive, right? It's just a waste of money. So he's going to wait. He will cancel it last second before going elsewhere. Yeah, he's actually going to take it way away. Where's he going to put it? He's actually going to take this drone all the way across the map. So that's interesting. He actually had a drone over here too. Not sure what that drone was up to. If it was already looking to try and be a little bit of a nuisance or a little bit of a proxy hatch, or what the plan was, or if it just was accidentally still targeting that probe and chased it across the map as well. And setting up 4 spine crawlers in production right now as Cannon is going to be picking away at the Overlord moving forward. Obviously, this mass spine defense going to be the way forward at the moment. I mean, 4 spines, you're going to have to get a group team out over here so you can actually push the spines into a more meaningful position. That is exactly what we're going to see. Group team onto the edge and will allow the spines to get a bit closer to those cannons. Are you going to build a robo here, PartinG? He will. So PartinG gets the robotics facility started up. I really feel against 4 spines, though. I'm not sure about it. There is a hatchery, top left-hand side. That's where soO decided to expand in the end. PartinG is scouting around and will see this. It reminds me a lot of soO versus Dark in the ESL Open Cup a couple of weeks ago. And soO is going to get the Baneling Nest as well. So he's looking to bust down this kind of cannon shield battery area down in the low ground. Take those down, and then obviously can make something more happen with the spine crawlers of his own. He's actually about to lose a spine crawler there, so he has to relocate it out around to the side. He's about to take away high ground vision, though. That's where the Adept Shade is going to become very annoying, because that will still keep high ground vision every so often. That's going to take a volley of spine crawler shots there to begin with. Now there's 2 Adepts trying to make their way forward as the spines trying to get burrowed up. Again, like I said, you've got to kind of wait for the high ground vision to come back every so often. So he's starting to pick away at this spine crawl on the left, and it is going low. With the shades especially, you can actually just take high ground vision for a long time. Transfusion is available on the left side. He doesn't get it. The Queen could have transfused that, but decided not to. 5 Banes on the way up. So those Banes have to hit well. If these Banes don't hit correctly, this could be a complete disaster, obviously, as we're going to be seeing a couple of Lings moving through. The spine crawler gets picked up. Spine crawler Nelly gets the Immortal in the background there. So Nelly able to get that. The spine still set up, and you have a few Banes of soO ready to wander down the ramp. Maybe here we go. Bane's gonna wander down. A couple of Adepts already going down. Other units getting in the cannons. I mean, you just didn't kill enough, right? I don't think you kill enough at all. soO is building lings off the top side of the map. He could have Baneland busted into his opponent's base. Maybe that's maybe that's plan 2 now, but there's also a defensive cannon in the mineral line. So you're gonna need a good amount of lings after as well. Only one spine crawler remains as soO. Gonna end up losing it. So the micro on that War Prism is good. There are Banelings to bust through this cannon. And then to try and shut down the setup at the front here. I mean, a few more lings rallying across from the base that's out on the map. Obviously, the lings from the main can't go across the map because they're not going to be able to do much. The lings get in, they will kill off the cannon at the front here. That's a shield battery to support the cannon in the mineral line, though. So, what are you going to do? Can you really fight that? The Baneling busted down, but that's getting extremely expensive at that stage. There's just not a lot in soO's main base anymore. These Immortals continue to chase in. One queen that has all the energy is pretty low. Takes a transfusion to stay alive. Lings do make a play for the cannon that's still building, but you just can't kill this cannon with the shield battery there, and he runs some lings in accidentally as they are uncontrolled for a moment. PartinG will just continue forward an extra immortal, and you really are going to start overpowering these queens. That's the thing. 3 queens isn't even like crazy numbers where they're just going to be able to transfuse each other forever. Especially against 3 immortals, right? At the point of 3 immortals, you're just going to start losing queens. It's just a matter of fact. No damage onto the War Prism. The lings will not do anything in soO. As he loses these queens, he'll lose the main base. When you lose the main base, you're obviously losing pretty much all of your economy. There is nothing that's working on the top left side. There are Banelings from soO still across the map. He actually killed an immortal over here. He's going to waddle these Banes in, but there's 3 cannons. Even if you get like a chunk of these probes, which he doesn't, he gets 2. I mean, that's just not going to do it either, right? Again, I hate to be so negative, but it's kind of a done deal point at this point. Royals get one of the queens. A few of the lings continue to drop down, and PartinG still trying to press forward. Here is going to go and is going to get a queen. Queen goes down in the end. These immortals will get this other queen as well. A couple of drones being picked off. PvZ is called, and soO just doesn't have anything left to stay in the game with, right? You've lost everything in that main, and that is indeed game over. Let's get it started. Count on down. In the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player from the Afrika Freaks down a game is now 0-4 in CVP in these playoffs. He needs to start turning it around. It is our red Zerg player, soO. PartinG does what PartinG does. He drops the cannons, gets aggressive, and he looks amazing in doing so. PartinG now blue Protoss on the top right side of the map. There's this probe already making its way to the bottom, so looking for a hatchery block early on in game number 2, of course. Just setting up on that natural, and it is going to be forcing soO to the 3rd base location. So PartinG already getting a good start to this 2nd game now as well. Getting the gas setting up, probe in production from PartinG, and do have the Overlord of soO making its way slowly yet surely away up to the top right side of the map. So off on a bit of a journey here on Eternal Empire. Cybercore will be finishing in just a few moments. There's a couple of queens continuing out, and more lings still coming up as well. So a few extra lings about to pop. Zergling speed of soO is already building on that spawning pool, and just going to see the couple of drones out around over to the right-hand side. Is going to be able to get mining here in the third base location. So able to get mining. Warp gates on the way up from PartinG. The Adept coming through, a Stalker about to pop. Gonna see some Twilight Council action from PartinG here. Oh, we are not. We're gonna see some Stargate play. Stargate really is becoming the go-to again. It's kind of refreshing to see kind of the movement away from Adepts, but what a scout this is for soO. Gets straight in, gets to see the Stargate early, so that's obviously an amazing scout. You cannot be happier with that. There's even a few probes that got pulled to help take down the Lings nice and quickly, so a little bit of lost mining as well. And there's a cancel from the Stargate straight to a Robo, so PartinG says that's too good of a scout to commit to the Stargate against. Instead, I'm going to drop the Robo facility and switch this up completely. So from the Robo, what can you do? Well, potential for something like a faster Robo Bay. You know, something like a Disruptor drop or Colossus drop. Those are a few of the early options here, I'd imagine. It's going to be interesting as the Robo facility gets going. A couple of spores on the way down. Overlord of soO had a round up the top of the map. 3 extra gates about to finish. He's actually just going to turn it straight up into an immortal attack. Okay, well, PartinG just going to ramp up the pressure here straight up for game 2. Queen going to be popping out of the main base. Second Queen setting up. Just going to be seeing the Overlord of soO out down in front of the third. I'm just going to have our Lings will continue to run around and make their way back home for the moment. Apparently, as the Stalker going to latch itself onto this Overlord, so Overlord will be taken down in just a few moments as it is picked away. Overlord drops, a couple of extra Zealots already warping in, and well, soO's about to come in for the scout of his lifetime because he's about to see all of these gateways, and he's going to start figuring out exactly what is going on. Don't usually see 7 gates in your opponent's main to total 8 and say, oh yeah, you know, nice friendly Protoss player here. No, he's kind of coming to kill you. As here come the sentries, the Stalkers, Immortal, all the way down to the bottom left-hand side. A few of these Lings start running forward, and Adept takes a couple shots of damage. The Stalker now warping in. Overlord gets picked off here. The couple of Stalkers, 1 and 2, get picked away at here. Now we're going to have these Queens getting forced, so they don't mind this start at all for soO because the Roaches just aren't ready yet. Now the first Roaches start showing up. It's going to be very important that the Immortal is able to work through those. He actually morphs them straight into Ravagers. PartinG continuing through into Spinecrawler fire. And now you can get on top of those spines. He takes the first one down very easily. One of the Ravagers just survives. I really mean only just on very low HP. Spinecrawler is actually a pretty nice target as well. The Ravagers actually help to take down the Spinecrawler. Sorry, the Spinecrawler. Getting rid of the Spore means the Prism can make it a bit more active. Did he happen? Oh no, he walks back into the last pile. PartinG. Oh, he actually was lucky that the 3 piles weren't in sync, but then he walks back into one. And that's going to be a good defense for soO to take game 2. And we are going to a game 3. Game number 3, and we're going to be starting off down in the bottom right-hand side. What a snipe that was on the Warp Prism. A necessary one, otherwise it looked as though he might be in a bit too much trouble to hold on. He does hold on though, and he makes this a game 3. It's soO. Makes this a game 3 where we're tied up 1-1. It is not match point to the Blue Protoss PartinG on the top left side of the map. Death Order. 2 faster games so far. Pro pops out. Moves to the low ground. Will be able to build a Nexus. As Nexus starts up, we're going to see the Cyber Core coming down. Just going to see the third hatcher already from soO. All of the standard stuff here for the early couple minutes. PartinG's warp gate will begin as you see the Stalker. Chrono boosting out is going to finish up and pop to take on this Overlord. Overlord's quite far forward, but of course it's got a pillar to go hide on. Will not go down. While that counts from PartinG, I'm still looking for kind of a longer game here, right? You know, something that actually goes on a little while, because everything's been pretty quick so far in this series. 2 quicker games, 6 minutes and 6 minutes or so. Twilight and the Robo, Dark Shrine, Glaives, both possibilities at this stage, of course. PartinG's Dark Shrine will start in the main, and just going to be seeing the Stalker of PartinG going to go out over to the left-hand side, and the gateway of PartinG up at the top. Dark Shrine continue to build, so it is going to be the 3 gates, so hits with, hits a little bit faster here, this one, than if you go 4 gates. This has been the go-to, basically, because I think everybody's kind of happy just going with 3 DTs initially, and then add a DT after to go for the Archon drop. So this really has become the norm, and of course you can also fake this out and make it look like Glaive, so it's a little bit tougher for the Zerg to read exactly what's going on in these kind of fights. Overlord from soO continues back to the left, then as the Warp Prism will take charge onto the map. Away we go, down to the bottom side. All of these adepts moving out. The Rotron is coming up. 16 lings on the way. So you've got to prepare just in case this is adepts, and that's why all the lings are coming out here. There are Spore Crawls to deal with the DTs, which will just turn onto the Queens. The lings aren't here right away. The adepts are actually making an aggressive play forward. Hey, those adepts are going to die. They're going to go for drones. He'll get one. I will say the lings, obviously, they pulled back to kind of help fight, and that's a recall. It only loses 1 adept, which isn't bad. You kind of need these adepts because you're meant to use the adepts to defend the 3rd base. So if you're not going to keep the adepts alive, then taking a 3rd base is way more difficult, especially because you make all these lings, which then aren't needed for the DT or Archon defense. So these can go across the map to cancel a 3rd. Right now, there is no 3rd, so this 3rd base is kind of late, but I tell you what, that's a Stalker trying to get an Overlord. It will go down. Overlord survives. Nice little catch there from soO. PartinG just adds extra gateways, still on 2 bases, by the way. So going up to 6 gateways now on 2 bases. Blink on the way up. Archon drop will head to the main. There's only a couple Queens here. I will say soO's been kind of greedy on the Roaches. Didn't build any Roaches until just now. The first 5 are in production. Queens continue to move up that right side. The Prism taking some more damage. Will take down the Overlord in the middle of the map. Lings are going to stream up and go straight through that Nexus right away. He's in some trouble. It is going to be cancelled. So the Nexus gets cancelled, rebuilds. Sentry's back into the natural expansion. All of these Lings of soO just going to go hiding away in the corner, and I mean, he keeps up the potential to run by, maybe get this Nexus yet again. There's only 2 adepts still there. These roaches just do good damage on the Archons right away. 2 full volleys, and one of those Archons is basically already down. A DT gets caught out the front. Now, there's going to be a shield battery this time around, so you can't fight the Adepts. The sentries there too. Force fields will lower the surface area enough to probably make this worthwhile, or not worthwhile for soO to commit to. Obviously makes it so that PartinG can actually defend that base. So PartinG gets his third up, but again, it's a late third. I mean, it's going to finish at, what, 7:15? It's way later than you would have liked this to be. These Lings of soO have done a great job, and well, he's just going to park them over here, see if he sees a chance to grab a probe or so in the mineral line. Won't see it yet, but what else have we got to do with those Lings, right? The Roaches are already dealing with the Archon drop very handily. So yeah, not really much else for these Roaches to do just yet. Queen's going to get pushed back, and the Roaches come in. The Prism loads up and goes over to that right-hand side. Lings show up straight onto the gateway. The Stalker taking some damage. The other unit's going to blink across them, and Lings do get pushed away. I feel like soO's got to be feeling pretty comfortable, though, right? He's had a good read of what's going on all this time. Definitely delayed his opponent a little bit from where he'd have liked to be. And he just goes up into an infestation pit already. So yeah, I think soO really is just saying that he's very comfortable with how things are playing out for the moment. Look at step back around. The Stalkers are quick to get rid of them. A couple of hallucinations of PartinG going to head out to the bottom side of the map. Prism's taking a few shots of damage and takes a few more Queen hits. Flying back across. Definitely something to be careful of. You do not want to be losing the Prism. Losing the 2 Archons almost just opens the floodgates for a Lingbane Roach to go across the map. And even if soO's like thinking about going Hive, which he is, still, just losing those couple of Archons can absolutely be the tipping point of having an army that can defend or do anything, really, right? What can that army do without those couple of Archons? It's literally Stalker Sentry. Those Archons have a big role to play. Splash damage, some Baneline soaking. Let's see, he's going to make his way across the map. Hive coming. What do we go for with the Hive here so quickly? Maybe just Vipers because there are Colossi now on the way out. Not sure what else you really do off the Hive this quickly. Maybe just a couple of Vipers. The only other thing that could make sense is maybe an Ultra Cavern with the melee upgrade. I don't like the Ultra Cavern though against an army like what we're seeing. I'd rather see something a little bit different, I think. Good force fields to replace where the pylon was, stopping the Banelings from getting toward the mineral line. And so far, soO has not done much with this army just yet. Now, another round of force fields while Banes are crashing up against them, ready to move through. A few of the Banes starting to get there, a few of them around the other side. Good continued force fields. A few Lings go all the way around the back. A lot of money in the bank from soO as he doesn't rebuild too much just yet. He does have some lava spare. He needs to make sure he doesn't stick around here too long, because if he can't get away with these Ravagers, those are going to be expensive losses on the chase. 24 probes fell in the end. soO loses a good chunk of army. He does just build a Viper, but he also builds the Ultraless Cavern. I always get a little afraid when I see the Ultra Cavern in PvZ. I'm not a believer of like, oh my god, Ultras are just terrible, like everyone seems to think they are in ZVT. In CVP, I really can get behind that sort of thought process though, because I can look at this and be like, well, how do you do much with this? I'm just gonna see our Stalker's back around the side. Charge is about to complete from PartinG, the +1 armor, Chrono boosting on the Forge, and a couple of Queens are already going to push the Warp Prism away up the right side of the map. Obviously, PartinG's able to rebuild from the work count disparity. He was about 35 behind, but rebuilding it up, obviously, it's still a pretty inefficient composition of soO, so, you know, PartinG can afford to be down on workers a little bit and to mine a bit less. Let's say if this line stays around this sort of area that it was before and that it's getting back to now, I'd say that that's probably okay. The force field's already down, and means that PartinG is going to be having to, or going to be able to hold some of these units off. All of these being turned back around. Really good force fields here. Colossi getting a lot of shots off onto Banelings. Some reason Archon still want to push through. A couple more biles already up in the skies, and all of those Stalkers return to the rest of the army. A couple of Ultras are on the way now from soO. +3 melee and the +2 carapace coming out. These ultras going to make much of a difference. Maybe, maybe they are. There's still 20 Stalkers, though. Stalkers actually, I feel like, are great against ultras. They just shoot, step back, shoot again, step back, shoot again. Ultra's dead, you know? You can blink back to you instead of having to step back at one point. Big pain run by for the 4th base. Does he just blow up the Nexus? Stalkers blink in. But yeah, he does just blow up the Nexus. I mean, that's a lot of Banelers to throw at a base. PartinG supply block, by the way, though. Well, that's kind of a big deal. He's going to lose probes over here. 11 workers down. This base gets crushed. And soO will pull away once more. With more ultras in production. Look at PartinG supply block. 158 over 134. All of a sudden, you're on 2 bases as PartinG. You lost 2 bases in quick succession. And now... oh, well, now you're in a really difficult scenario to try and draw yourself out of this. I actually don't really know what you do about that. It feels really, really rough. Let's see, the Lings are going to move up as well. So the Storm's going down. A lot of the Lingbane Roach getting caught from the start. The GC Stalkers of PartinG continuing to set up. And a couple of surrounds. We see another couple of Stalkers continuing to drop. The army of PartinG still pressing through. Alcon leading the charge here. A few probes still dropping. We're going to be seeing the Zealots going down as well. That's 8, 9, 10, 11 workers all going down. Well, we've got some units coming in from the backside. A blinding cloud forcing some units up close to the ultras from the start. And PartinG just does not have an army to stay alive. PvZ is called, and soO will take it down. And soO takes his first lead of the series with PartinG unable to stay. There we go. And we will start down in the bottom left side with our Red Zerg, who has found a little bit of action in the PvP now. This is soO. And a 12 pool. As PartinG will probe scout, though. He's at blue Protoss top right. Does keep soO safe in case of certain cannon rushes and stuff as well. Okay, well, can absolutely get behind this. As that probe starts to make its way down to the bottom left side. Went on a little bit of a patrol there. The spawning pool obviously coming up, and PartinG is going to come up and check that. Realize that this is a 12 pool. Now PartinG's response should be gateway cybercore. It's important you put the gateway here and leave the gap here, because you want the Zealot to come straight out of the gateway to fill that gap. I don't think this is the build of PartinG that soO was hoping it would be. I actually saw in the group stages, Serral versus PartinG. Serral cranked out 2 12 pools back to back and was able to actually really just didn't work out either game, but he was able to draw one of those games back to a victory. So I was a big fan of the 12 pool in that series. That was that first odd start, and even a pylon behind this is very safe here from PartinG. An extra pylon just to make sure even if you get through, you're never going to shut down the gateway production or anything like that. So this 12 pool should have really no hope of ending the game or anything dramatic. Lings will move across, and a Zealot comes out of the wall for a moment. Lings picking up the cyber core. So you're not doing anything gas related behind this, by the way, so it doesn't look as though it's going to be any kind of an all-in to follow up. Looks like he'll just try and drone out of this with 0 gas income. So I mean, already though, 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts, if they start moving across the map, these Lings are going to be in trouble, and that's when you can actually start to force soO to make more units already in the game. No Ling speed Lings against Zealots and Adepts. That makes up for PartinG having to take the later Nexus as well. I mean, he's already okay to take a later Nexus because it's a 12 pool, right? But you can get more damage done, you can put more pressure on, you can force more units, and that's always just going to help you to extend that advantage in the game. Def can sit out the front for a moment. Just seeing our Twilight Council already building from PartinG in that main base, and a couple of adepts are going to make their way through into the main. A real deal right now as the Lings continue to drop. The adepts do get chased way up the left-hand side. The Zealot in position. And the circling speed of soO still setting up. The Lings are going to chase. There's a couple of adepts in the main base down. And yeah, the adepts are going to chase the drone all the way out to the 4th base location. Fourth is an extractor, so in general here, soO's not in the greatest of spots. Now, Blink on the way from PartinG, so he's going to go for another big 2-baser. And this should be up to 6, 7, maybe even 8 gateways of Blink Stalkers. You don't go Blink as a little opener. You know, you go Blink to all in, basically. So he's saying, well, I've got a good lead off the 12 pool or against the 12 pool. Let's try and play some Blink to shut it down. Now, for the moment, it is a very late 3rd hatchery, of course, so that's something to keep in mind. But obviously, soO is then forced to play 2-base a bit longer, so might be a bit more prepared for this Blink attack than PartinG would like. There's gateway number 5 added on. He does take a gas on the natural as well, though. So I wonder if this may be more like 5 gates of pressure into maybe an attempt of a follow-up here. I kind of see that as these two adepts continuing to shade. They will not get anywhere. The Lings will not be able to catch them. Will take down the Overlord. The Blink is about to complete on this Twilight or Prism. Goes down and just gonna see the Lings all out onto the map. That is about to finish up. Approach speed on the way. Forge is already built naturally from PartinG as well in the main. Let's get that Forge up. 3rd Nexus started. I actually really thought this was going to be more pressure from PartinG than it was. Kind of goes back to Death Aura, right? Where PartinG was pretty slow to take the 3rd as well. And yeah, he was pretty slow to take the 3rd on Death Aura, adding on a lot of gateways before then he eventually took it, but then he didn't do anything with the gateways, and that's kind of my issue here as well. What is he going to do with those gateways in the Blink Stalkers? Is he actually going to pressure? Well, it looks like he will, yes. Obviously not great then to have taken so many shots on the Prism already, though. That is far from ideal. A lot of Lings set up right now as soO is going to run forward. I do like that soO was able to get up to a good work account nice and quickly. If you look at the income, you know, soO definitely got it back for a little while, and he gets up to 3 bases. I think this turns out to be okay for soO if you can just hold on against these Stalkers. Transition behind it from PartinG, going to be the Robo Bay. I like soO's already making his way around the back with these Lings. Or is it just a straight up counterattack? No, he is going to come around the back. The Stalkers can blink to the bottom right, perhaps. These Lings should be able to catch a couple, and that surround's going down. Of course, when you're surrounding here, the Roaches and Ravagers are also able to catch up, so then they're able to get some extra damage done as well. Really good defense from soO, and PartinG's investment into the Stalkers and the gateways are not paying out at all. And soO is still chasing this. The extra Stalkers just got warped in. And soO is going to go and try and again just block as many of these Stalkers as possible. Force another blink. Running out of Lings, really. You really do need that Ling count, because then the Stalkers can't just blink in and pick off the Ravagers one by one. Which is maybe what would have happened there if there wasn't any reinforcing Lings showing up. Now the next round of Lings does show up. So soO's is already running forward. PartinG going into a disrupt off that Robo Bay. A unit which could help massively if he's able to take down a good chunk of this Roach Ravager count. The first disruptor shot is always the most deadly, because it's the one that the Zerg is less likely, you know, is not aware of yet, right? Oh, now he catches the Prism. It does have to change directions in at the end. But yeah, that first disruptor shot, when the Zerg doesn't know there's disruptors on the map, and then suddenly they're like, oh my god, it really tests their, you know, awareness and their reaction time. The Ravager goes down the ramp. The Stalkers do get chased away. And just about get through there. More battles covering the front. The Stalkers are back into the center. The Warp Prism around the upper left. Full speed on this hatchery is an infestation pit setting up in the main. Roaches and Ravagers chase the Stalkers away, but now the Stalkers are going to get caught once again. Good movement of this army from soO. Oh, he recalls in the way of the vials. What was that about? Oh, that was... I kind of get the recall, but he was already caught when he started a recall. I feel like you need to maybe fight, blink, and then recall instantly as you blink. Ah, that was so many vials that dropped down there. That's painful. Prism still trying to hunt this army down. We've yet to see the Disruptors come into play. Of course, they're set back defensively. First Colossus is about to come up. He has that first Disrupted shot, and soO will back away from it. Now making a switch into Banelings, making a switch into the Hive. He's actually just going to break down these force fields to give himself access toward the army, but says now is not the time. Not just yet, at least. Probably wants to add on a group of... oh my god, that Prism! Probably wants to add on a group of Banelings before he tries to do anything else here. 5th hatchery out in the front. Oh, he finally got the Prism. How come it's the one time I'm not looking at it? But the Prism actually goes down. And this Prism was basically being used as an observer, tracking the army, trying to figure out where it was moving to, and when he finally loses it, finally punished for trying to keep it overhead. Disruptors have just started spinning with a couple of cannons, a battery. All of this setting up on the low ground. The Ling gonna run by. Picked off by cannons. It's a lot of Lings to do. Gonna morph in a good chunk of Banelings. Just gonna see the rest of this army. Out up the right side, these Banes are going to finish. The Stalk is now blinking up. The Lings get chased away. It's going to come through. The Stalkers have to dodge back. But you see the cannons. The Banes are going to move on through here. They're going to start heading towards this mineral line in a moment or two. The Disruptor shot does land, though. And hey, this force field was really good to deflect the Banelings, and soO has just bled out units the last couple of moments. This was not a good fight from soO in the slightest, and suddenly... he's got money in the bank to spend, but suddenly it feels like this has been all about soO, but actually now it looks like it's all about PartinG. What a turnaround this is turning into. Disruptors coming through. Stalkers do blink forward. A couple of Roaches going down. After taking some damage, this Queen being pushed back and gain more Bane. Ravager, Ling looking to set up from force fields. And they get broken down and abduct. And Theory built into Ultras. Kind of similar to what he was doing on Death Orb, but I feel like he lost a little bit too much ahead of time here this time. And now, when these Ultras really get much done, he's going to wrap around the right side. Try and get behind this army. Losing one base isn't too much of an issue. Bro's going to run up this ramp, breaking down the force field. Disruptor shots going off. All of these orders being picked away. I mean, in fairness, the PartinG army's taking damage as well. I cannot believe we are seeing a freaking hallucinated Colossus that genuinely tanked so much damage. Oh, these two Colossi in the back are so low. The Queens can't get onto them. There's only Queens here. There's 2 Ultras in production, but they take so long to build. It looks as though PartinG is going to take us to a Game 5 once again today. This has been an aggressive series. Which of these players will take on one of the Terrans in tomorrow's lower bracket round 2? Not tomorrow, sorry, but on Thursday's lower bracket round 2. As in the top right-hand side, it is the red Zerg from the Afrika Freaks. It is soO. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss from Dragon Phoenix Gaming is PartinG. Fifth final map, here we go. PartinG starts with the gateway at the front. Will hatchery block, so we'll get soO to take that third base location to begin with. Very open access to the third base here, and I do feel like that's fantastic for the Zerg to use across the map. Attacks in this direction, very hard to really kind of block off or anything, and I feel like the best way to block is almost to hide behind your Nexus, but then your Nexus is under fire, of course. Probe comes in. Corona's going to fight back. Well, very standard setup here so far for Pillars of Gold. Obviously, the hatch block is nice. We'll see if PartinG does go into that Twilight Council from that then. That's the expectation when you hatch block, so let's see what he wants to do. Chasing down that probe, Twilight Council into the main. Do we see Glaives this time, I guess, is another kind of question then, as we get to see the fact that it is the Twilight Council we're expecting. Do we get Glaives? Do we get the Dark Shrine? Could be a bit of either or, really, as do you see the Stalker here is going to chase the Overlord out overhead, so Overlord push back overhead for the moment. Three gates coming through. We do see the Robo facility in the main base, but nothing off the Twilight yet. There it is. Glaive Star. I was going to say, it feels like we're waiting a very long time to see what the choice is going to be. Electro drones of soO popping the Queen on the way up on that third base as well. Buildings. So soO is just setting up with the right sort of defense, even a spine crawler as well, so really does have pretty solidified position so far. It's just the 4 gates of PartinG, so it's not anything crazy. We have seen a few players going 5-ish gates or so more recently, or sometimes 6, and really making this more of an all-in than the pressure. Depth will continue up as the Ling Zone production. Spore Crawler is dropping down, and the extra Roach is coming through too. The Adepts making their way across, and Queen's already in position. There go our Adepts shading up into the natural, into the main base, and oh, for a moment I thought they might have committed, but They do cancel. It's 12 Adepts and no Roaches out already, so I really feel like maybe... It's not 12, is it? It's 10. So I really feel like maybe he could have gone for the Lings there if he was shades on the ramp. But it's always scary, you don't quite know what you're shading into. RoboBay is the follow-up from PartinG. Not the typical follow-up, right? This transfusion keeps this Roach alive a little bit longer. Usually you would see that kind of movement to a third and take and blink, but RoboBay. Did you just go Disruptors? Could you go Colossus from this? I mean, I feel like there's not really the army to go Colossus with, right? The Depths don't really support Colossi that well. Yeah, I'd like to see just Disruptors here. I think that would be a good way of doing this. The Lings and the Roaches do pull back. There's the third Nexus now. I guess we're going to have our question answered when this Immortal finishes. That's when we'll see the next unit lining up. Moving around, shading it back. We do see the Prism out over the right-hand side. They're still just building from PartinG in the main base. The Forges dropping as well. I mean, the Adepts obviously have, you know, they only keep the pressure up for so long. And soO is now starting to kind of get to drones, but felt like PartinG actually kept the pressure on for long enough to really take a serious advantage. But that's the Adepts getting caught. That's pretty serious if you're going to lose a lot of these Adepts all of a sudden. Then you lose a lot of your army that's meant to be defending back at home. Two Disruptors on the map. No Prism speed or anything, so we'll just be those. Maybe the Disruptors into a Colossus play again, similar to last time. Main speed plus 1 melee, Roach speed. All coming through. The Lings of soO are also out on the map. Giving a lot of pressure up. Of course, at this stage, PartinG, it's really a question of being able to keep that third alive, and I think he's got the army for that. Look at the work count, 62 probes, so as he moves out here, he doesn't necessarily need to do a lot of damage. He actually sends his army back. He's kind of just leading with the Prism, and now with Hallucinations too. Okay, so he's actually just looking for some damage with these Disruptor drops. Start off here. The Disruptor fires into the mineral line, or into the Roaches. Another one fires, another couple of Roaches going down. Hallucinations into the main base, and that Prism. And pushed away by the Queen. Spire on the way from soO as the Stalkers. We'll go up the right. Dropping down the rocks. Disruptors are going to line up, and Raptor's going to get cancel there. I'm going to re-engage this time. Ooh. Disruptor actually connects. I kind of thought soO might have been able to get it, and I think that's what soO was thinking as well. Maybe he was able to kill the Disruptor. Just straight up loses the fourth phase. He does have Bane's finishing now, but obviously too late to help out with this fight, and PartinG has the force field still up, so he'll be able to back away from this. He's going to be able to escape out of here. So PartinG is able to escape away. Disruptors will land on the Queen. And what can the Spire do from soO? Obviously get some Mutalisk up. I do feel like maybe soO's been kind of low on drones this entire time from the Adept play. That's a huge catch though! All the sentries and the Immortals going down. The Stalkers abandoned them. And all of a sudden we're talking about a soO who is now taking a bit of a lead in the game again. That's a huge catch. Huge, huge, huge catch. These Disruptors will not be able to do much here. Attempted the files, but PartinG does dodge away. The meter's on the way though, so they will be able to hunt down the Disruptors. in the Warp Prism. I mean, do you do that, or do you actually prioritize going across the map and getting some probes before stuff realizes what's going on? He's joining up top left. Let's do melee carapace upgrade. Continuing in, we will see the Ling's able to pick off a probe already. So able to pick that probe off. Nexus. He's going through the Ling Road Ravager Bane. Oh, that's 2 Ravagers, and that's a bunch of Banelings going down, and that's another one going in. Ravager gets picked off immediately. Muta's getting some extra probes. Add around to the back of this natural as 11 workers down. Muta's fly across into the third. And all the way out through the bottom side of the map. Plus 2 attack, about to finish on the forge. Lots of Lings, lots of Banes, plus 2 melee. Well, killing probes like this, I mean, that's kind of what the Mutas wanted to do. The Warp Prism definitely has to be more afraid now than it was before. Mr. Bane setting up, the Ling Ravager beginning to set up as well. The shot does land though. These disruptors keep lining up. PartinG is just maxed out. It might just be too much army supply for STALKER to really fight. Big force fields go down. A few Banes slipped in on the left-hand side. Mutas are counterattacking at the same time. The Banes from the back won't do anything. The force fields are good. It looks like the series on the bottom of the bracket, the non-PvZ, will be a PvT because PartinG will be in it to take on either Innovation or Cure tomorrow. PartinG 3-2 over soO to take it down. GG.